Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And next, we're going to go into privilege of the floor. This portion of the agenda provides opportunity for residents of Niagara Wheatfield Central School District to be heard. Any person who wishes to address the board is invited to do so at this time. Please state your name, address. Complaints or criticisms about individual school personnel are not appropriate in this forum and will not be allowed. The board may not respond to questions. They should be referred to the superintendent of schools at another time. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Okay, the first person we have is Vince.
Good afternoon, Vince Saninato, 3457 Lakewood Drive, North Tonawanda, New York. I apologize for my attire. I'm coaching football at the seconds. I had sent the board previously correspondence regarding the usage from NWAA and the turf field. This is kind of rushed, and I get that, and I apologize for it. It's certainly not the intentions of NWAA. What occurred was, as we start planning each year to look for usage and fields and how to play football and where to play football mostly, it came to light that it would best serve the interest of the organization that I represent if we could play on the turf field. For years, I've been a part of this organization for 3+ years. It's always been cost prohibitive. This year, they really wanted to make it an effort, so we had to fundraise. So that's why I have sent the letter to the board, kind of outlining where we were, where we're at, and what I would hope that we could kind of come to a resolution here. So essentially, what it comes down to is a football game is only an hour long, and we're only playing on that field for 1 hour. We rent the field in our latest permit for the 7 hours. That's from 2 to 9 o'clock. That would serve our 3 games, and then an hour in between each game, an hour to set up, and then an hour after the last game to clean the field, bring the stuff back, and whatnot. The issue with the $100 an hour, which, if I had to guess, when this was originally intended, was not to probably prohibit somebody from not using the field. It was probably a cost for directly using the field. The problem that we have is we have referees and leagues all over the place that we have to schedule according to them. So we can't just say 2, 3, 4 o'clock. Most of the time that doesn't happen. You have to schedule referees, you have to schedule a bunch of other stuff to go along with that. So they tell us our schedule, we then apply for a permit. It's kind of like a backwards process, to be honest. In the calculation of the rates, we have 4 hours of which we are not really using the field per se. There's no game being played, there's no usage other than either bringing chains out and making sure, you know, the sideline is set up or, you know, whatever. But there's no game being played, there's no wear and tear on the field, there's nothing like that. And then there's an hour in between the games where teams are getting off, clearing out their stuff, and then, you know, they wait until the next game, do it again, clean your stuff up. Finally, the last game, then we just take an hour, probably less than that, to even clean up the field. And that's just bring the stuff back, make sure the garbage is out, and whatnot. So in our latest quote, I think it cost us $1,300 for a 7-hour rental with staff and whatnot. 4 hours of that, $400, is no wear and tear. I understand we should probably pay for that, and we're happy to do that. It's not that issue. But I guess when breaking everything down, we were asking for maybe a reduced rate for those inactive hours. We can, you know, reserve it, but we understand that there's no wear and tear, so it's just a fee to kind of hold the spot. So right now it's costing us $100 an hour if we play on the field, and $100 an hour if we just stare at turf not growing. And that the part for a youth organization that's a not-for-profit, that is the prohibitive part. we had to fundraise this year in order to play on the field. And while we were successful at doing that, that is not a guarantee, that is pulling teeth. And even if for a nonprofit where you can write it off, you'd be surprised. So I sent out a big proposal, suggestions, those were just ideas. My hope was that we can come to either a conversation of some sort where we can obviously alleviate any concerns that you have with ultra usage of the field versus cost prohibitive of the field. You know, so that is all I have. So I hope you were able to read the letter. If you had any questions, I know it's not a Q&A, but if you had any questions, I'm happy to answer them at any point. So thank you.
Thank you.
Vince, just so you know, I have that topic under superintendent comments tonight, so we'll be talking about that a little bit in open session tonight, just so you know.
Okay,
a little
thank
later, okay?
Okay, next is Susan Taylor Maroney.
Hello, I'm Susan Taylor Maroney. I reside at 7107 Ward Road in NT Wheatfield. I'm here today to talk about two cases that have gone to court regarding medical exemptions. I don't know currently what Niagara Wheatfield does when they get medical exemptions, if they question them or toss them aside or they accept them. I have no idea. But the two cases, one was in April with Start Point, and they had to, the judge ruled that they had to accept the student. And more recently, a couple weeks ago or a week ago, in Oceanside School District, I think on Long Island, they also won that one as well. So the student is able to go back to school with a medical exemption. I have copies of 7 packets here. I have no idea how many board members there are because that information is not on the website presently. So at any rate, I'm going to be reading one of the sheets. And it's a back Q test for legislators, doctors, nurses, school board members, and parents. And while there may be mercury mentioned in here, this was composed many years ago before they switched the metal in vaccines from mercury to aluminum, basically. The flu shot in a multi-dose has mercury still, but at any rate, here are the questions. In the most widely used flu vaccines, including those given to the vast majority of infants and toddlers, the amount of mercury contained in one dose is how many times greater than the EPA maximum allowed limit for drinking water? Answer: 25,000 times greater if thimerosal is listed as an ingredient, up to 1,000 times greater if labeled thimerosal free. Number 2, was the original relative risk data found by Thomas Verstraeten in 1999 for the mercury in thimerosal containing vaccines being a causal factor in the development of autism higher than the legally required relative risk rate of 2.0? Answer: yes. It was 11.5, which is exponentially higher than the 2.0 level typically required in a court of law to prove a causal link. At an infant's 2-month well baby appointment, the amount of aluminum injected via the 8 recommended vaccines is how many times greater than the FDA maximum allowed limit for IV feedings of an infant? Answer: 49 times greater. Do children have any need for mercury or aluminum? Answer: no. Are there ingredients in vaccines that are classified as hazardous materials, poisons, with accompanying material safety data sheets? Answer: yes, including but not limited to formaldehyde, phenol, thimerosal, deoxycholate, polysorbate 80, and sodium borate. Do children have any need for these hazardous materials or poisons? Answer, no. Are there ingredients in vaccines that are known or suspected to be cancer causing? Answer, yes, including but not limited to glyphosate, MSG, which is monosodium glutamate, polysorbate 80, phenol, formaldehyde, deoxycholate, and Triton X100. Do children have any need for these cancer-causing substances? Answer, no. Are there ingredients in vaccines that are known or suspected to damage reproductive organs and impair fertility, cause sterility? Answer, yes, including but not limited to aluminum, polysorbate 80, phenol, and sodium borate. Do children have any need for these fertility damaging substances? Answer, no. And it goes on and on. There are 30 questions. And I'm going to skip down to the U.S. Constitution guarantees parents the right to direct the care, education, and upbringing of their children as they see fit. Does that include making healthcare and medical decisions for one's children without government interference, coercion, cost, or penalty? Answer, yes. Can medical mandates, including vaccine mandates, exist in a free and ethical society? Answer, no. Legislators, are you willing to immediately initiate legislation to ban vaccine mandates? If not, please explain why not. That's the same question for doctors and nurses and school board members. Are you willing to refuse to implement vaccine mandate laws in our state? If not, please explain why not. I know you can't answer that question right now, but it's something to think about. I have a listing of vaccines and their ingredients in this packet, and some further information for you to read. Copies of just the first and last page of the Start Point case, page 1 and page 52, just in case you're unfamiliar with that. And then I have a copy of an article regarding the more recent case in Oceanside, I think it is. And so I have 7 copies here. I would like to give these to you, but I'm not real sure.
I'll make sure the board members.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Consensus agenda items. I will now call for a motion to approve the following consensus agenda items 1 through 14 as submitted. So we have second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion for, I will now call for a motion to approve personnel report 1 through 47, excluding 4, 9, 11, and 12. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay, I'm gonna do now, guys.
We'll turn it over to Allison, who's gonna be talking about 4, 9, 11, 12.
Good evening. I'm going to bring up 4 candidates and talk a little bit about each of them. Jordan Brooks. Jordan has applied for the full-time social work position at high school, middle school. She'll be split between the 2 schools. She's a graduate of UB, where she earned her master's in social work after completing dual undergraduate degrees in sociology and legal studies. Jordan has always been driven by her lifelong passion for working with students and families and looks to incorporate it in all areas of her life. Jordan comes to us excited and dedicated to supporting our students through empathy, advocacy, and connection. Outside of her professional life, she enjoys spending time with her two dogs, Lucy and Sadie, watching live music at concerts, being out on the water, and spending time with her family and friends.
Okay. May I have a motion? I have a motion to, accept Jordan Brooks as a 1.0 FTE social worker at Niagara Wheatfield Senior High, 40%, and Edward Town Middle School, 60%. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Congratulations.
Next, we have Emily Lazonis. Emily has applied to be a long-term sub teacher at West Street. She will be teaching first grade. She graduated from SUNY Cortland and is pursuing a master's in TESOL. E&L. Okay, I'm a business person. This fall, she'll be in the JV swim coach. She will be the JV swim coach for Niagara Wheatfield. And she can't wait to start her journey as a Falcon. She thinks it's a great community and can't wait to be more involved. So this is Emily Lazaris.
I have a motion, to approve Emily Lazonis
Lazonis.
as an LTS teacher at West Street Elementary School. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next, we have Joe Coughlin. Joe comes to us from Grand Island. He's applied to be a special ed science teacher at ETMS. He's a Niagara University undergrad and graduate. He's going to be, again, teaching the 15-1 class at ETMS for science. He loves the Bills, Sabres, and Yankees and the outdoors, and he's currently the rink manager at Niagara.
Tom Stack told me to put it.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve Joseph Coughlin as a probationary 1.0 FTE special ed science teacher at Edward Town Middle School?
So move.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations.
And last, we have Austin Devlin. Austin is a graduate of Niagara Falls. He has worked in the past at Niagara Wheatfield during and after COVID. And he worked at Niagara Falls when the previous grant expired. He loves the community at Niagara Wheatfield and was a class advisor of the class of 2024. In his spare time, he loves playing volleyball and spending time with his son, Lincoln.
Okay, I have a motion to approve Austin Devlin as probationary 1.0 FTE science generalist teacher at Niagara Wheatfield Senior High School. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Congratulations. That's it, right? Okay, next, the standing committee. Capital projects, I guess I'll speak to that, I'm chair of that. The auditorium has really started to take shape. I know a lot of people, if you look outside, the outside of it is really starting to close in. And, we're anticipating before the fall that outside will be closed in and most of the inside work being done. There's a lot of inside work that's already done. which is really nice. The upper deck is done and a lot of infrastructure. So we're moving along. We're still looking at March, sometime in March to finish, be able to use it. But that is definitely going along very well. Do we have anything for comments?
It's just the second reading of the policy related to memorials and honorariums. And that's coming from a standing committee,
So we just make a motion.
correct?
Okay, so next is the policy committee. Need a motion for the second reading adoption of policy 3710 memorials and what is it?
Honorariums.
Honorariums.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Just information for the minister.
So we have our new ex officio. You have anything to say tonight?
No, I'm good, thank you.
I was introducing. Introduce yourself.
Not working.
Huh?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Okay. President report, I don't have anything right now. Dan, you do.
I do. Quite a list here, so Ethan, I know will be bringing us a list at probably the next meeting, I would imagine, as we get started with school. You know, our next meeting is on a Wednesday, so Tuesday will be our first day, and we'll be able to give us the report, I'm sure. First, I want to share a date that is October 18th. That'll be our next Eco Campus project, October 18th from 8 to 11 in the morning. It'll be right back here behind the high school ALC. It'll actually be our 13th biannual event, so I'm pretty excited about that. We're actually hopeful that the Greenway construction project will happen in the summer of 2026, which will include the bridge, the educational node, all out by Cable Creek here. So it'll be a really great science space for our middle school and high school students. We're really excited about the way that boardwalk will all look along the creek there, and it'll be a nature classroom, right? We're really excited. So hopefully that starts this summer. We also have a grant that we're putting in for with Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper. And should we get it, that'll help enhance that trail area along the creek. So we're hoping for that as well. Gave some capital project updates a little bit. I did want to just touch, just as a reminder, that we have the Away for the Day happening this year. I know the high school, because it'll be new for the high school, they're actually opening their doors on Monday. Parents should have received a notification where students can come in and work on their combinations because their phones will have to be in their lockers this year. In about a month, Deanna and I will be reporting on the electric bus feasibility study that we have done through Wendell and NIPA. They've done some work for us. They had to do some work with National Grid as well. So we expect the final draft, the final report, I should say, to be done in about a month. So right after that, we'll schedule a time here at our board meeting to talk a little bit about it. If you didn't see at the end of last year, and I will be sharing with the school community, our district was actually featured in Business View magazine. So if you go online, it's an online publication to Business View magazine. They did a really, I thought, nice job of featuring our school. They called us, they asked to interview us, and they did. They made Ivory Field the feature educational article. So I think it shines pretty brightly down on our district. The community education program, for those who have been on the board for a while, you know this, about a little over 15 years ago, there was a community ed program and it fell apart with the finances for the district, and we built that program up, and they've done such an incredible job with it. The people who have taken that over, Cindy, just does an outstanding job running that program. This summer, we had the largest number of students involved in the summer program as we've ever had. Those students participate in the program. They go on field trips. Those dollars either come from the parents now who are paying for it because there's no more money, obviously, with the grant that we once had. The parents pay for it, but Cindy also applies for some free grants for some of those trips for the kids. So it's been a really great experience. I expect that only to grow. We also had, through our community ed, some early introductory athletic programs that ran this summer. So, you know, really kudos to her for continuing to grow that program for our school community. And again, there's plenty of offerings for non-students. As a matter of fact, most of our offerings in that program are for people who are not students. So it's great continuing education for our school community. I wanted to ask one more time, if anyone's interested in the NISBA conference. I know we have at least one person, maybe two going. If you are interested, make sure you get to Renee because space will fill up fast, I'm sure, especially when it comes to rooms. So just let Renee know if you're interested. On Tuesday, August 26th, we will have our opening day for staff. In the past, opening day, there was a welcome. There was always an auditorium, as you know. The auditorium is still being worked on. So again, this year, we'll have a smaller group here in the ALC. The rest of the district will be receiving that remotely, the introduction. Board members, if you're interested, be at 8 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday in this room. Okay, the high school ALC, if you want to come by for the welcome. And the last item I want to talk a little bit about was one that Vincent brought up. So Brian's blowing that up on the screen right there, right now. Okay. This was these rates came down a few years ago. They were reduced for that category 2, which are the NW based student or adult groups. We moved that dollar amount down to $100. My recommendation, and then I'll tell you why afterward. My recommendation would be to drop that rate for this year to $75 an hour for the hourly rate. You know, given the example that was given earlier, if you had a 7-hour event, that would say about $175 for that one particular event. The reason I wouldn't drop it a lot further is because this all has to do with, like, you know, balancing the offering and the opportunity to use the field with overall usage and how many people will then want to book the field and the staff that we have actually to be there when these events are running, right? So that's a big part of it. You know, usage is a part of it, but it's also about our staff. The board, I would recommend that you do this for the year. That next year we can certainly look at it again to see what impact, if any, it had. You know, did we end up having a large number of people who then were signing up for it, or did it stay pretty balanced? And if so, you know, what would you want to do with it at the start of next school year? Okay, that would be my recommendation. Certainly, you know, as a board, you can set that rate however you would like. NWAA has been a great partner of ours. I hope they would say the same. I think they would say the same. That's, you know, we, as many of you know, we've been on board for a while, especially, you know, we've turned our entire front of our building into fields for soccer. We turned the back of our fields into football fields. You know, we utilize all of our spaces for, you know, for members and groups within our school community. I think that's been a really great thing. Turf, the expected life of turf is around 10 years. We put this in during COVID, so really 2021 was the first season. The more use, you know, the quicker we may have to put this in. Some school districts have gotten to like 11, maybe 12 years. The cost is, I don't even know what it is right now. When we put it in, it was obviously very expensive to put, you know, new turf down. It's going to be expensive. So recouping a little bit of the cost of the usage, knowing that it wears the field down a little bit, I think is certainly a smart move that we put in play. But if you have questions for me, let me know. Other than that, you know, it's certainly something you can act on tonight or whenever you want. And I don't know.
Facility and staff, what is that term? Is that,
So, anytime we have an event here, when school, isn't already in session, or when we don't already have people scheduled to be here, we have to have somebody here, okay? So we would charge for, one person to be here a half hour before the event, through the event, till a half an hour after the event. We don't charge, and, groups like NWA for cleanup, they tend to do a really great job of keeping the fields clean. I think once we applied a cleaning fee, because that wasn't the case. I did talk to Greg Phillips about this, but for the most part, they're really great, so we don't charge for that. We only charge for, things like security for events like that. If we're not in session, if they ask for it and they want it, we will then reach out to the groups that we work with for security, and if they're available, they cover those events. If, they wanted lights, then there's a cost for lights. If they wanted, somebody to do the press box, then there's a cost for those things. But if they're just going out to use the field.
that's it for quarter.
Correct. But as far, it does, it'll show on there like extra cleaning fees and things like that. We really don't charge for them. Because we have responsible groups.
Any discussion on that? Well, basically what you're looking at is lowering it to 75.
So our recommendation would be that you take that, if you slide that down a little bit, Ryan, that hourly rate that, I think it was right at the top, I'm sorry, right? So right at the top, take that hourly rate for the turf fields, and you go from $100 to 75. And then, we look at that, we revisit it at the end of the year and see what happened to usage, if you want to move that in either direction from there.
Hey, Dan, what about, the staff we have to have, the $100 an hour? And what about this electricity and stuff like that?
I don't think you see those charges, right? I think the only thing that's ever charged is if somebody was, wanting to use the lights and turning on all of those lights for the field, when we wouldn't charge the, to turn on the lights for the field, but regular, electric costs, during the day, if they're there for an event, there's no charge for that.
My biggest concern when we were originally approached, was the life of the turf. Okay, you don't want to be spending a couple $1 million in 10 years. But listen to the way it's being explained. We're not using the turf for the whole 7 hours. So why can't we give them for 1 year some type of adjustment or credit for those hours that aren't being used? To lower it for the students and that, because it's not being used, and that then kind of takes away my fear of the length of the life of the turf.
So if you're asking just my thought on it, here's my thought, that if you're reserving the field for that time, what you're saying is that nobody else can reserve it. Right, so if a group says, geez, I want the field, I think when we lower a rate, that's gonna impact that too. But when if you say you need we need your space from 2 to 9 o'clock, so we need it for 7 hours. But we're only using it for particular hours within that. I guess the question is, can we use the field for something else during those hours? And I think the answer is no. I think that they're still set up and there's other things. So that if a group wants a block of time and they're the only ones who can use it and nobody else can, then I would argue that they should be paying for it. Otherwise, I think you could have groups saying, okay, we only want it. Here's the way this can work on a permit, right? We have 3 times during the day when we're bringing groups in, we now got your turf for 12 hours. Nobody else can run it, but we're only gonna pay you for these 3 hours that we have it. That to me is would be my concern with that. I liken it to like a wedding, or you rent a hall out, right? well, you're paying for the hours that no one else can use it. So that, you know, if somebody else wanted to use it during those blocks of hours, and they could, it would be one thing. I also would recommend, you know, that instead you put in a permit that is only for the hours and those times that you need it, not for the 5 or 7 hour block. So if you want to get it for 3 hours, just put in a permit for those three, if you need it for 3 individual hours, put it in for those 3 individual hours.
Now, if they did that, would they be allowed to stay out there?
Well, if somebody else rented it during
Well, if
that
someone
time,
rented it, that's
then
fine.
no, right? And you know, you can certainly roll the dice and see how that worked, right? But, I just think if you're making it so no one else can use the space, that wouldn't be fair to other groups who said I would want that space during that time.
So they would have to,
So they'd have to put in a permit for
for 3 slots, if they're playing,
those three.
and then leave it.
Right. Take a chance. I mean, you know, what's the chances? I don't know. It's on a weekend and it's, you know,
What are we talking, two ball games? For football?
I only know what one group uses it. They're not the
Yeah.
only group that uses, you know, the facilities. So, and then, you know, I think one of the things to remember is what I would expect that if, as we lower the rate, you'll get more usage. Is what I would expect to happen. Could be wrong, but I would think that would.
I mean, if they go that route, that's their chances taking that somebody else wanted that other hour. That's the only thing that comes down with that. You know what I mean, in between. But, like I say, it's on the weekend, right? It's a Sunday,
Saturday,
Saturday.
both games are Saturday.
I just like to give them a little bit,
Yeah,
some opportunity, you
I
know,
think that we.
70 to 90% of them are our kids. And,
I
it
agree.
is expensive to, the hockey
Oh,
teams have the same thing, traveling, probably more expensive really.
it is,
with the
believe me.
ice and,
It is.
equipment. I always hear them, talking about it, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying, Rick.
I mean, if we only do it for 1 year and reevaluate it, and we do a little bit more of
I think what Dan's saying is we do it for one, or do we do it for all, right? That's the question. That's the only
well, I
question.
imagine you would have to do it for all.
Right.
Can't just do it for, football.
So I mean, he had talked about reducing it to 75. I don't know, is everybody in favor of that? No. Looking for a consensus on that?
I don't think anybody's opposed to it now.
Hmm?
We're not opposed to that. But I think at the end of the year, I think there should be more discussion on how to alleviate the burden of the cost to them. Because they are such good tenants of the district and where the kids are coming from. But I think for the time being, that's the most appropriate way forward.
And what I would add is, you know, if you reduce it to $75 and the permit instead reads the hours that they're using it, you know, you see what happens, and then quite frankly, there would be a significant
Yeah.
reduction in cost.
And if we looked at a flat rate, other than the hourly rate,
Like event?
yeah,
No, we haven't. I mean, this is what we've set up, right? Yeah.
The only thing I'm sorry, like,
Oh, here's my.
oh, I'm sorry.
it's okay. The thing I'm concerned about, if they're not renting it or reserving it for the hours in between the games, is that if we're still gonna have to pay a staff member during that time to be here, and we're still incurring the cost.
Well, that charge is separate.
Okay.
So if we don't have staff there that day, that would still be paid, right? If somebody had to be there, they couldn't go home and back. But what they wouldn't pay would be for the field usage during those hours that they weren't using it. Good question.
I agree with the reduction and again, revisit it next year, because again, as Dan said, I don't want to see a group come in at 9 in the morning, reserve it, play at 3, and then the whole place is tied up, you know, for time, so I think it's something in short notice as we've got it here. I think this is a good compromise both ways to save them a little bit of money, revisit, have more discussions with the NWA, Dan and everybody else, and then, you know, bring it for consideration. Plus, as Dan said, we can review what kind of usage is actually occurring with reduced rates and then see where we are. And again, there is a mechanism in there to take an opportunity to not book for that hour to save significant amount of money. Does it render a risk? Yes, but what are the odds someone's gonna come in for that short 1 hour is just a pickup game to
Right.
play football?
I mean, that's their option right now. I mean, do it individually hours. But we're still looking at lowering.
So if you want, if you want to step up, someone need to make a motion to reduce the NW-based student or adult groups rate from 100 to 75.
Yes, can I have a
I
motion?
just say something too. I just wanted to, you know, you had mentioned what are the chances somebody's gonna be using the field in between for football, but don't forget there's other sports that can be played on that field. So
No,
somebody
that's
might
fine.
be coming in playing soccer. Okay.
Sure,
Yeah,
no,
that's
that's
a
just
good
whatever
reminder.
it may be,
Right.
but
Whatever sport.
just the point.
Yeah.
Practice
Yeah, it's
soccer.
the option that you
Sure.
have to make.
Okay, could I have a motion to reduce NW-based student or adult group from 100 to 75 per hour?
So I'm
For 1 year. And to
For this
reevaluate.
year, then we reevaluate it next year.
I'll second Mike's motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Moved. Motion carried.
So the only, the only other item I had was, I know we got to, celebrate the retirement, of Allison with a lot of other people here at a meeting in the spring, but I just, would be remiss if I didn't thank her for her incredible work, for the district, for this going 13th year here. Her last day is Friday. We're gonna miss her. She's been an incredible custodian and steward of the district and of the funds for the district. So thank you.
Yeah, Allison is a board member, I mean, for the board, you've done unbelievable job over the 9 years I've been here. And what you've done with this district to help turn this around is incredible. You really did a fantastic job. And I appreciate everything you did for us. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I've been with Allison since she's been here. Some good and bad times and them turned out to be good times. But I want to thank you for everything that you've helped in this district. I want to wish you the best of health, enjoy your retirement, and we welcome Deanne.
Okay, with that, see, we go to reports to the board. We have any reports to the board? Items for board discussion? How about old business? Any old business? Any new business? Any other public comments? Board member comments?
Oh, you.
Oh.
I
Yeah,
just
we
want to
do.
say thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Board member comments. Okay, that said.
I just want to congratulate all the new people who joined the team.
Okay, with that, call for a motion to adjourn the meeting. Have a motion.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No, I'm sure no opposed. Motion carried.